Stephen is the general manager of an organisation called GlobalNet. GlobalNet is actually one of the first organisations that organised the capabilities to give to bring advice from anywhere in the world. So today 120 financial planning organisations worldwide are members of his organisation in 49 countries. And he has advised and managed assets of up to about $8 billion.
Yeah, six billion. It's billion, yeah, not trillion, billion.
Billion. Okay. Well, I'm used to talking in trillions. Apart from that, I can look into the future in my vision.
Oh, okay. Do you know where I am on this? It's only
okay, you can start talking and I'll find it, don't worry.
We will, I think, be delighted to hear that this will not take long at all. And there are very few slides, so I did a similar one today for some financial advisors and said you can close your eyes but please listen. Yeah, we are, 3 slides, so it's very simple.
There we go.
I will say a little bit about me. It's not essential, and I'll explain why this is such a small presentation and why it perhaps in some ways, well, I've never spoken to the public in this sort of scenario. Our clients, my company's clients, are financial advisors. We do not deal with the public. We as a company do not deal with the public. We deal only with the financial advisors. And so the financial advisors are the people who deal with the public. As simple as that. So in that respect, you say, well, why on earth have you got something to talk to us about? Well, I just want to give an overview of what we do a little bit and how we support our financial advisors, which in turn enable them to do, hopefully, a better job for the general public. So, as I said this morning, I'm old and grey and haggard. I'd like to think I'm in my 30s and just aged badly, but I'm a lot older and have just aged badly. So, but I have a lot of experience in the industry. Just a little time. The roots of the company. The company was actually established in the mid-1990s, and it was established by a chap who remains a shareholder of the company. It's based out of Cyprus, as it still is based out of Cyprus. And somebody once said to me, well, why Cyprus? Why have you based out of Cyprus? Well, that just happened to be where he was living when he established the company, and it's stayed there ever since. We've sort of fell into the European Union, as it were, and so now we operate 2 businesses. One, GlobalNet, which tends to be outside the regulated environment, and then we have another company which is in the regulated environment. So, as an example, in this situation, we're talking of people who are working in what we term an unregulated environment, or that's not true, but we don't regulate the advisors in Israel. But they will possibly be purchasing products through us within the regulated environment. So we have a crossover. So we have 2 businesses. One operates from Cyprus and is regulated throughout the whole of the European Union, and the other one operates from Cyprus and just provides what we call network support. It's GlobalNet, network support to financial advisors. The company's been established for a long, long time, set up originally as a direct sales force, if you're familiar with that terminology, but in the UK it was how I started my career. It was a direct sales force where the salespeople, I use the term guys loosely, ladies, so please forgive me, but the salespeople guys were, all their work had to go through this company, everything, they couldn't do anything outside. Over the years it morphed itself into more of, the best description I can give you is a cooperative. By pulling lots of small businesses together, obviously you have the ability to access a greater range of products. We took over the company in 2005 when it was suffering, let's say. It had not grown over the previous few years. The people who were running the company had lost sight of where they were. They had one very, very large account in Russia, which was doing 80% of the company business. And when that account closed, they suddenly went, oops, lost all our business. We took over just at that time. Perfect timing, one might add. But then in 2006, I think we had 16 member companies, 16 IFA firms, and some of those would have been just one-man bands. They weren't necessarily all large businesses. And we've grown to, it's about 120, 180, 120. It's a movable feast. We don't lose many. We have sacked a few over the years, mostly because they're not doing enough business. We have certain requirements that they reach. They cost us money to keep them on the books, not significant amounts, but it costs us. So we, from time to time, say, hey, look, come on, this isn't on. You got to pull your socks up and do some business, or we got to say goodbye. I told you it wouldn't take long. Oh, this is the wrong one.
That's the wrong presentation.
Yeah, okay, don't worry. Well, I just
There's
ignored that
another
bit. Okay. There is just a shorter one. The reason why I thought there was some value in me just saying a few words to members of the public today was the fact that you may or may not end up dealing with somebody who operates on the global net. Alex operates under both banners, the global net and the regulated side as well. So it's one of the issues that we all face when we do our shopping, not an issue but a thought, is do we go and do our shopping? Now I don't know shops here, but I live in the UK temporarily at the moment, but do we go and do our shopping at the local shop where we're going to pay a little bit more for everything, have a lesser range, or do we go to Tesco or Asda or whatever? Now we tend to go for the majority of the things at the big shop, big place, and then odd bits and pieces at little place. And the reason why we go to the big place is that we know in our minds they've probably got the better prices. There's all price wars going on everywhere. They've probably got the better prices and they have the better range. That's the same as working within the network. So our members have access to a much greater range of products than they could ever hope to achieve than if they were flying solo. And we have firms from one-man bands working, I use the term generically, working from their back kitchen. I'm sure they work from a back bedroom, but you know what I mean. Small businesses, one-man bands, who've got a small number of clients, they're professional, they've been in the business a long time, they look after their clients, but they're a small business. They don't want to be a big business, they don't want to have consultants, they don't want to move the goalposts. They're happy with their lot and their clients are happy. To other businesses that are growing rapidly, and Qrops Advice is one of them, that's grown rapidly. So we just support our advisors in whatever way we can. It is basically legal, decent, honest and truthful. The other part of the two other issues that pertain to the general public, and that is, one is who we take on board, who we will accept. We're not an organisation where someone's been selling double glazing or photocopiers or whatever and suddenly they can become a financial advisor. We require our advisors to be qualified and to have experience, so they must testify, must prove that to us. And we have at varying degrees the different levels of compliance that step in order to ensure that these people are fit and proper. So we will obtain, and it depends on jurisdiction. Some of these things you can do easily and other things you can't do. For example, a credit check. In some countries it's easy to do a credit check to make sure that the person doesn't owe a sack full of money. We want to make sure that they've not been declared bankrupt. That's another critical issue. Some of these things we can do, as I say, easily, but if, for example, if you're in the Middle East, you can't, there's no such thing as a credit referencing check. You can't do it. A lot of our advisors are or were UK based, so therefore that's easy, we can do it from there. We take references on them clearly. We won't necessarily go to their old employer, because the industry is strange insofar as you can be talking to a firm and somebody's there and this chap is the best thing since sliced bread, he produces excellent business, his clients are happy, he does the reporting, everything is perfect, and he decides to leave and go to another firm and all of a sudden he was the worst thing they ever set their eyes on. So old firms tend to have a tarnished viewpoint, but the people who do have, who can give us a valuable opinion are people like the fund groups. They would have dealt with this person, or the insurance companies, the likes of Royal Scandia or Generali. So we don't do a written reference because we won't get the answers we want to get, because it's difficult to give a bad reference these days, but we'll have a telephone conversation. So we vet people to make sure they are fit and proper. We do compliance checks on them when they first start with us. Everything, it goes through 100% compliance procedures to make sure that the business is fit and proper and good for purpose. So we don't want complaints, we don't want this, although these, in some cases they're operating under their own regulation as they would do in Israel. We don't want it. It's a reputational risk for us that we are not prepared to take. And the last part is on the funds. We're going to have a presentation, I think, from certainly one or two fund groups. I think this one, I presume. No, that's you guys anyway. But funds. We run two lists of funds for our advisors. One is recommended. These are the funds that we have been through, we've investigated, we've looked at, we've dug down deep, we've lifted the drains up. If it was a Fidelity or a Goldman Sachs, then there's less due diligence for me to do on the fund than there is if it was Dark Life of Soho, where you need to go, well, who are these people? Why have I never heard of them? Why have they got this? How is this fund working? Not just the mechanics of the fund, and our big fear all the time, obviously, is fraud. We'll hold our hand up. We were caught with a fund called Fairfield Century. It was $100,000 in there, so it wasn't a massive amount, but it was enough. But that was Bernie Madoff, who I'm sure you've heard of. Bernie Madoff, I mean, far more auspicious companies than ours, people with massive resources, got caught on that one. So I suppose in that respect we did quite well. I met Alex a week or so ago, unbeknown to me, in a hotel next to their offices in London, where I was there for the whole week meeting fund managers, meeting distributors, meeting fund groups, going to see trading floors to make sure that everything is as we wanted it to be. So that's what we bring to the knowledge of somebody. If we've got somebody, an IFA who is a member of GlobalNet, you can know that these things have gone on in the background. We obviously encourage all the advisors to educate themselves, to maintain their education, to improve their education. And I think the work that Dan's doing, you may not be aware, in promoting this and working financial advisors in Israel is exemplary. It's fabulous. I wish there was more of it. I'll get him to come to Cyprus or somewhere else and do it again. So that's it from me. I don't imagine there are any questions, but I'm happy to take any if there are. Excellent, thank you.